Welcome to BookJuice, where we don't just read the classics, we listen to the quiet voices that still echo today. Let me ask you something. What would change in your life if you had space, real space, to think, to create, to just exist without being interrupted? That's what Virginia Woolf is getting at in A Room of One's Own. And it's not just about physical space, it's about freedom, mental freedom, creative freedom. The kind of freedom that lets you imagine your life as something more than what the world hands you. Woolf wrote this in the 1920s, and yet it speaks with chilling clarity even now. She's standing in front of a room of students, reflecting on what women need in order to write fiction. And she says this: "A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction." Let that sit. Because what she's really saying is that you can't create in captivity. You can't dream when survival is screaming in your ear. And you can't express yourself when the world keeps telling you to be smaller, quieter, safer. Woolf walks through history asking, where are the women writers? Where are their stories? Why aren't their names in the canon? And then she answers it herself. They weren't allowed the same tools, the same time, the same mental space. She even imagines a fictional sister of Shakespeare, just as brilliant, just as gifted, but born a woman and silenced by the weight of society. She never gets to write a single line. That image stays with you because it's not just about gender, it's about access. How many people still feel this way today? Too many distractions, too many responsibilities, not enough room to breathe, reflect, or create. And it begs a deeper question. What parts of yourself have you buried just to survive? What dreams have you delayed because there was no space for them to grow? Woolf doesn't tell us to fight louder. She tells us to claim space, internally and externally. Not just to demand a seat at the table, but to build a room for ourselves, by ourselves. And it's not just for writers. It's for anyone who wants to live on their own terms, who wants to think deeply, who wants to stop performing and start being. Juice drop. Lock up your libraries if you like, but there is no gate, no lock, no bolt that you can set upon the freedom of my mind. No matter what the world tries to limit, your mind is still yours. And yes, we say it out loud because it matters. So here's your reflection. What would your room look like? Not just physically, but emotionally. And what would come alive in you if you finally gave yourself that space? Drop it in the comments, because your voice matters. Your work matters. Even if the world hasn't seen it yet, you have. And that's enough to begin. And hey, whether you're commuting, cleaning, running between tasks, or just stealing 5 minutes for yourself, this is what BookJuice is for. Short, powerful, personal reflections for people on the go who still want to grow. Grab the book, make your space, and never forget, this is BookJuice, reflections that leave room for you.